Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Write an Adventure, our ongoing live stream where we're creating an adventure in real time. I am RJ Kerr. I am your host, as always, and today we are going to continue working on the campaign that we have started. What, 7 sessions ago? I think this is the seventh one that we've been working on this. Um, where we are creating our very own domain of dread. Last time, we were focusing on the initial adventure in that. A reactive adventure, meaning an adventure where something happens to the characters to sort of pull them into the story um, uh, and get them kind of into the action right away and sort of setting the stage, in which the characters are kidnapped by a aboleth-led cult and set to work in a ongoing excavation where they are helping this aboleth cult search for this artifact of power, an artifact that could give this aboleth godlike power over this domain of dread. And in doing so, they must, well, one, escape their sort of, enslavement with the help of a different faction, and also will discover along the way that this artifact may, in fact, hold the key to them escaping this domain of dread themselves. So last time we were having a really chill session working on the map, and today we've still got some work to do on this map as well. So we're going to spend some time working on that as well. So I think today's probably going to be kind of a chatty session, and just kind of talk about uh, D&D, TTRPGs in general, with a little bit about kind of what we're doing on the map here as we go through. Just for your edification, last time I realized at the very end that I had been doing all the hashing on the sketch layer. Yikes. That doesn't look good at all. So I did spend a little bit of time off camera fixing that with a true hatching layer. So just FYI, I hate to do stuff off screen when we're building these because I really don't like that whole do this and then some magic happens and voila, now you suddenly have this thing. I'd rather have you all get to see all the warts and blemishes and moments where I have to stop and shake my head and go, RJ, what is wrong with you? When I'm doing this kind of stuff, because that's all part of the creative process. So let's go ahead and I'm going to get that sketch layer back up. I'm going to drop the fixed hatching layer just because we don't necessarily need that at the moment. And I want to see kind of the room numbers and some of the other shapes that we had come up with here for our design, because we're going to go ahead and start filling in some walls. We'll do some shadow today as we have time as well, and just generally add some detail. I don't know that we're going to go too nuts with it. We'll see what we've got time for today. I don't know. Early days. We don't need to necessarily predict every moment of this. But so let's go ahead and get started. Let's create a new layer and do this right instead of what we were doing last time. Let's make this walls. And we're going to go back to our handy dandy rough pen brush. Get that back up to 15. And we're going to remove the pen pressure sensitivity on this because we are not really so much sketching as we are wanting solid lines. And let's kind of look at each of the spaces that we have, because we're going to want to put some doors in here. Because while I really, like the shapes that we've got going on here, we want some differentiation between our spaces, a little bit more than that. So let's go ahead and pop some of that in. Back to our sketch layer. So we know that we need something in here because we have our kind of our what did we end up calling it? I think we called it our enthralled pen. So let's go ahead and get some doors there or some walls there. And yeah, we'll just, you know what? Feel like this is kind of like a bar, and so let's use our pen and let's just get a couple, let's just kind of evenly space out some jail cell bars here. I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. Don't necessarily have to be too rigid with it. And then let's put another set of walls here that are kind of built out and creating kind of this antechamber in here. So let's give that a little more of an organic shape like we've done some of the other stuff in here. And we'll put doors into these. We'll do the doors later. Let's just get these kind of put in, create some of these spaces. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Looks like we had one kind of over here. What was room 7? What did we say that was? So it was the armory. Oh, yeah. Definitely want that to have some controlled space in it. So let's put some walls in here. And give ourselves kind of a 2-part compartment there. We can work with, because then we can have kind of our, anybody can kind of walk through this space, and then we have our kind of restricted section over here. Let's see, what else do we want? We need some, we need to block off our kitchen here. Let's give that kind of an odd shape there as well. Making some of these odd shaped rooms, I think, adds some eccentricity to this, which can make it interesting, make it seem less predictable to our players. So we can carve this one back just a bit. Make that one kind of as is. Yeah. Nope, don't like that line there. Something like that. Okay. Yeah, give ourselves some odd organic shapes here. Nothing too create, don't have to be too rigid about any of this. Cool. Well, we're kind of working on this, and then we'll put some doors in after this. But as we're kind of working on this, is there anything you all wanted to talk about? Anything in particular you all wanted to ask or chat about this evening? I think this is just just kind of a chill session, as I said before. We'll get back into writing next week. And then I think we're going to take Thanksgiving week off for those of us in the U.S. Yeah, I don't like that one as much. Let's bow it the other way. make something a little more along those lines because that's our laboratory space. You probably need some segmentation there as well. What if we... Yeah, what if we give ourselves kind of a oddly shaped room there too? I don't like that. I don't like that. We'll leave it a big open space. We can always come back to it later. So let's see. Yeah, we probably want some kind of distinction here at the docks. And you know what? That's probably good for what we need at the moment. So let's get some doors in here. And let's start by just kind of drawing in a shape that works. Nope, we're not going to start that way. We're going to do this right. We're going to put this in a whole new layer. Doors. So I don't have to go back through and edit the absolute bejesus out of this. So let's just pick a size that kind of works for what we're doing here. Looks good. Ooh, no, that's too. You know what? Let's reduce the size here. Let's make doors 7 in terms of their actual thickness. That's a little bit better. I think I want them just a touch more narrow though. And we're kind of just trying it out in space here because we're gonna just copy and paste and rotate as necessary here. So we're just gonna kind of come through and go, okay, copy, control copy, and paste that. And we'll move one here, and we'll reorient it as necessary. And we'll take this bad boy, we'll put him here somewhere. Oh, nope, because I'm on the wrong layer. And I got the wrong thing selected. My God. Move that one over there. Okay. Control copy, control paste. And let's put a door there. Control paste. And let's see. Next door. Probably down here on the side. Might have like a window or something in here. We'll figure that out. Say control paste. Put one there. Control paste. There. Literally just sprinkling these out about where I want them because we're gonna go through and fix all these individually here in a minute. Let's get it. Although, okay. Copy, control, paste. Cool, so that's where we're pulling from now. Great. That's what I get for messing with this. Control, paste. Oh. Aha. Let's get these here. Well, let's get these here so we don't miss spaces. Control paste. Control paste. Control paste. Yeah. that is everybody. Cool. So to make our lives easier, we're going to take all these door layers and we are going to select them, Control E to merge them. And now they're all one layer. So now we can manipulate as we need to. So the transform tool, kind of get this guy where we want him. Yeah, put him in between a couple of those. That's perfect. Here, just kind of do the same deal for all this. Let's see. Put him there. Something we might do is we kind of go through, just to make sure we don't lose any of these, is go ahead and fill them with white. This might be a little narrower than we want, but I don't know. I kind of like them. We'll see. All right. Cool. I'm just going to kind of get in the groove while we do this. You know, I got to say that doing this kind of really kind of basic work while we're doing this, it might sound silly, but I find that it's just a really great way to kind of help battle some of the burnout that comes with larger creative processes. You know, making a campaign, especially a whole new campaign world, is not a small endeavor. And you know, and we'll make light of it, and we'll talk about how it's easy when you break it up, and yada 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 when we do this. But the fact of the matter is that it's a challenge. It absolutely is. Anytime you sit down to create anything from the ether, anytime you try to make something from nothing, you know, there is a level of effort and endeavor that is required in that is hard. And it's always going to be hard. If it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be worthwhile um, in a lot of ways. But sometimes just finding these little bits and pieces that are a break from the creative process. They're not a break from the creative process. They're a different part of the creative process. I think can go a long way to maintaining your endurance through a project and keep you from getting into that defeatist headspace and ending up in a place where you put the project down and never come back to it, which is in some ways the saddest thing that can happen to, you know, any creative piece, anything that you've worked on, um, is to just have it left somewhere and never picked up and never used and never played. Um, and that's really easy to happen when you get. It's really easy for that to happen when you spend all your time focused on writing an adventure and and you put all those hours into it and you never give yourself a break. You can burn out. But I find that these little moments where we tinker with something else that helps move the project forward but isn't the, you know, the actual creation bit, I will say, or at least isn't as demanding a piece of the creation bit, and that might be a different bit for you than it is for me. Um, then yeah, I think that really helps me kind of maintain that endurance. It's like when you're running and you're getting absolutely just exhausted, you're wearing yourself down, and so you stop and you walk for a little while. You're still making distance, you're still continuing on, but you're, you know, but you're taking it a slower pace. You're you're still giving your body some time to kind of relax. And it sounds silly, but you need to do that when you're being creative as well, or at least I do. Um, and I'm could be completely misquoting the neurotransmitter or the I think it's the neurotransmitter glutamate if I'm correct. That kind of builds up in your brain when you're doing you know strenuous periods of high cognition, when you're really kind of burning all that brain power. Um, especially when you're trying to learn something or trying to figure out something or trying to make something like this, and it will wear you out. I mean, it builds up, and until you can kind of release it, it's it's going to wear you down. That's where you get that kind of brain fog, that mental fatigue when you do a lot of heavy thinking. Um, I remember getting that for the first. Well, I won't say the first time. The first time where it really kicked my ass. I was in the Peace Corps, and I was in West Africa, and I was signed up to be a teacher there, and they teach in French in Guinea and West in that portion of West Africa, and I did not speak French, not a lick of it, and so I had to learn French in country, and so that I could do my job, and had to learn it fast. I learned it in a period of about 3 months, and I will tell you what, I that was the most tired I have been, I think, in my whole life. Was trying to learn a brand new language, not being a polyglot myself in any capacity, uh, and it really really taxed me, and I felt exhausted after those sessions. Just even though I'd done nothing physical, and I get the same feeling sometimes when I'm really burning hard trying to make something like this or trying to write something that's a stretch for me, that's a big project, um, which is not a bad thing. I mean, it stretches my ability, and it's how we improve, right? Doing more, um, pushing ourselves, getting out of that comfort zone. But got to give yourself breaks too. And sessions like this are, yeah, they're my kind of break. Got to fix that line there. We'll come back to that. Come back to that. Okay. But yeah, what about you all? When you're working on these, do you always feel completely energized, or does sometimes it get a little tiring for you when you're trying to create things from scratch? I'd love to hear how your experience is with that, and if you ever worry about burnout. I certainly do. Yeah. Writer's block, though, I will tell you that I don't worry about that one as much. That one used to haunt me. That feeling of just staring at a blank page and having nothing to say. Um, and that used to just be my Achilles heel. I wanted to write so much more. I wanted to build adventures and do those sorts of things way before I ever actually made the attempt. Not because I didn't have ideas, but because I would get down to that blank page and all of a sudden everything would kind of freeze up on me. And I really didn't know what to put down, what to do about it. Uh, and it wasn't until I started free writing, that brainstorming that we do at the beginning of every one of these adventures, and partway through when we're coming up with new stuff, that free writing exercise that crushed writer's block for me. Um, it's kind of like opening up the dam, and it makes a huge difference. I think. Um, that again, just that time to just be completely non-judgmental, organic, and just create freely without a whole lot of expectation of oneself, I think makes an enormous difference um, in keeping the process, the creative process, fresh and flowing. Um, at least it does for me. If you guys have other writer's block busters, I'd love to hear them. Always looking for ideas from folks. Or if you've never experienced writer's block, I'd be curious to hear that too. That's that's something I think is I've always thought is pretty universal, but it could be wrong. Could be wrong. All right. Cool, cool, cool. We've got our walls, we've got our doors. Let's drop our sketch layer real quick, get our proper hatching layer back, kind of take a look at what we've got here. Yeah. Yeah, I take it back. I do like these kind of thinner doors for this particular map. Let's fix this outline layer bit here. Let's just could have sworn I just bumped that up. There we go. Oh, because I've got a selection. Deselect. There we go. Yeah. Nope. Because I'm in white too. There we go. Not black. Cool. Close the loop there. All right. We've got a decent map started here. And enough for us next time to get in here and fill out some of our thematic spaces, fill in the blanks in this adventure, because we do have a few of them left. But since we're here, let's go ahead and start getting some shadows in here. Let's put some depth in to make this map pop just a little bit more, as long as we've got the time tonight. So let's say a new layer. Let's say shadow. And drop that opacity to 25, something like that. And let's work in our upper corner here. And this is a pretty organic map. So let's see what we get. What we get with our shadow. Let's see. I'm often experimenting with different pens just to kind of see what I like on the on the shadow side of things here. And you know what? I kind of like this pen for this one. I usually will use like a charcoal or something like that for this, but cool. Yeah, I'm digging that. We'll stick with that for this. And give ourselves a little bit of depth there as well. Cool. Yeah, so we're just going to be filling this in. Again, just catharsis in a lot of ways. Use a different part of our creative brains for this. Let the writer in us relax for a minute. Use a different tool in the storyteller's toolbox. So we're still telling a story here. These maps are still part of that story. And a big part, because they're going to be the visual representation of this adventure in a lot of ways. So we want to give them just as much time and effort as we do the writing side. If we're going to make maps at all, there's always a school of thought for getting rid of the maps entirely. Let's there. Cool. Okay. Yeah. I need this. I don't mind telling you that I've been feeling a little bit of creative burnout lately. Just in general. Especially with the channel here. You know, I started this channel up earlier this year. If you're watching it in, real time or in 2024, that's what I mean. I started in 2024 and I've put out over 200 videos this year between all the lives and the regular videos and the shorts. And that's been a lot of fun. And I plan to keep putting stuff out, but it takes a lot of energy to do some of that. And so moments like this where I get to have this unstructured time with you all, they really help. They help a lot. Kind of keep that motivation up. Give me time to think without evaluating what I'm creating. Which sounds like a silly thing, but that's the wrong side of that. It sounds silly to say, you should do this without evaluating what you're working on. But evaluation is part of the editing process, not part of the creative process. We want to do a minimal amount of judging what we do when we're trying to be creative. Obviously, we need to know what works and what doesn't work, but the less judgment we give ourselves during this, the freer we're going to be, the more we're going to surprise ourselves, the cooler stuff we're going to come up with. And sometimes that's really hard, not judging yourself. Sometimes it's really difficult to stare at something you've made and see anything other than the supposed flaws. Especially while you're doing it. And I think that more creative projects have been abandoned erroneously, and because people got in their heads about what they were doing. I hope that doesn't happen to any of you. Because I personally would love to see the adventures that you're writing yourselves. In fact, if anybody's got an adventure that they're working on that they want to share a little log line, a little synopsis on, while we do this, that would be super cool. I'd love to hear it this time or next time. Entirely up to you. Okay. Let's see. Getting lost in all these curves here. It's okay. We'll get it sorted out. Okay. I have to admit, I really am kind of digging the how organic shapes are on this map. Just how free form they are. I think it adds a cool flavor to this. Especially kind of a departure from some of the rigid line work, boxy shapes that we get sometimes just because it's easy to make rectangular rooms. Hmm. Y'all are quiet tonight. It's all right. Sometimes it's nice to just chill out and listen. I don't know what I'm doing over here. There we go. All right. Anybody here check out the live stream last Wednesday? A little more conversational kind of style there, less about making and more about talking about uh, TTRPGs and all the things that go into those. Shorter format for sure, um, but well, I personally I kind of like that, um, and I hope that you did too. I plan on doing more of those on Wednesdays, um, and yeah, it would be if you're enjoying those, I'd love to hear about them. Or hear what kind of topics you want me to cover for those. What you want to chat about? I'd love to have turn those into chatty, conversational kind of moments. Um, you know, get out of the format where it's just kind of me telling it how it is, quote unquote, and more about hearing your thoughts and having kind of a real dialogue with you all. I would love that. Let's get that there. All right. Nope, that's two. It's two on the side. We need this to be a little more down here. Okay, and a little bit more up there. Cool. So we can shave a little slope there. So we need to. And give ourselves a little shadow here. Well, how we doing? It's starting to pop up top. Definitely in comparison down to what we have lower. Um, we'll see how much of this we get through tonight. If we honestly, unless there's any strong desire to watch me do more shadows, I might do the rest of these in between sessions, just so we can have that done before we hop into uh, working on the actual writing again. Sorry, a little swig of my water there. All right. Oop. That's erroneous. Oh, so is that one. All right. Let's get these lined in. Okay. All right. All right. Well, I tell you what, everybody's been pretty quiet this evening, and I have kind of said my piece about creativity tonight. So why don't we call this one an early evening, and we'll go ahead and wrap up here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've enjoyed this content, if you enjoy my content and this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I love to hear from you guys and what you think and what you'd like to see from the channel in the future. I'm gonna keep doing with those Wednesday live streams that are the chattier kind of informal dialogues with y'all. I'd love to hear what you want to talk about on Wednesdays. So send me a comment. Let me know what you think and what you'd like to chat about. And otherwise, I will see you on this coming Wednesday and the following Monday. We're going to take Thanksgiving week off, by the way, just FYI. No, we've still got a little bit of time between now and then, but just so you can bear that in mind. But anyway, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you next time.